Let's talk to Michigan voters.
There are aspects we have to talk about with Yasmin, who's joining us from Michigan, Dearborn specifically, talking to voters ahead of Tuesday's primary. That is a state, as you well know, Yasmin, where protesters have been very loud against Joe Biden's support for Israel. And as the New York Times has put it, Michigan's combination of an early primary, a large and politically active Arab American population, progressive students on college campuses, and the option of a protest vote have raised the stakes of what has otherwise been a sleepy election in the state. So what are the voters telling you, Yas?
There's a new poll out, Alex, 45 to 41, in which the former president is leading Joe Biden right now in Michigan. Biden has a problem, Alex, in Michigan with the voters that I've been speaking to. These are all folks that voted for Biden in 2020. They have committed to voting uncommitted in the Michigan primary next Tuesday. And two of them are very much on the fence in voting for him for re-election in November. The other two absolutely will not be voting for him. They are angry about Gaza. They are angry he has not called for a permanent ceasefire as of yet. And they're angry that he has not come through on the promises he made when he was running for president back in 2020. Let's take a listen, Alex, to some of what they said and how they think or they believe Biden could possibly make up their vote between now and November. Is there a pathway forward for you with Biden?
Oh, absolutely not. You cannot keep killing people with our money and just keep thinking that, oh, we are stupid enough to elect you again, because we'll fall in line. We'll forget. Like, this is an insult to me as a voter.
For you, Biden has a pathway forward.
Biden has a pathway forward. It's not.
And what does that look like?
That is him calling for a permanent and immediate ceasefire. The straightforward, simple answer for the Biden administration is push for a ceasefire, stop aiding Israel in their war crimes, and I guarantee you there are enough people who would be willing to deal with it and vote for the man. It is, in so many words, insane to me to have the Democratic Party and the Biden administration sit here and essentially say, if Trump happens, it's your fault.
If you don't want a Trump presidency, then are you not worried about what he could do domestically to this country?
I am, it's like a vaccine. I'm willing to take short-term pain for a long-term gain. I'm willing to let go of Joe Biden and oppose Joe Biden, make him a one-term president, punish Joe Biden by making him a one-term president and pairing his loss with the genocide in Gaza.
Why does our democracy, why is having a Trump presidency more important than those people's lives? Why is our democracy more important than thousands of men, women, and children being killed?
So it's interesting, Alex, because it's not like they're saying we're not going to vote for Joe Biden and instead we're going to be voting for Donald Trump. That is not at all what they're saying, right? Instead of saying we are in this position in more of a big picture sense because of the Democratic Party. Right. They're like, you haven't given us the candidates that we want. You haven't delivered the way in which we want. You're not listening to us.
Do they think Trump will be better with Israel? I don't think they think that. Some might, and they're wrong for that opinion. Trump will not be better with Israel. There is no, guys. No. I don't think that is a thing at all. If you think that Trump will be better with Israel, you're out of your mind. Okay? But that is not a justification. That is not a justification for Biden to continue following Trump's Israel policies. Democrats claim that it's harm reduction to vote for the Democratic Party as opposed to the Republican Party, but then they literally adopt the positions of the Republican Party and then go, it's still harm reduction. At a certain point, you're not reducing harm. Oh my God. I did not work out Kaya hard enough this morning, and she's like awake. And right now she's putting her face on my leg, pushing down on my leg to be like, pay attention to me, please.
And we are sick of the political system in this country because of all of that. So this for them is.
What will Trump do that's worse? Not like he's going to give Israel more money than Biden. What do you mean? Okay. Trump's policies in Israel are the reason why October 7 happened. Moving the embassy to Jerusalem, permanently recognizing the annexation of Golan Heights, instituting the Abraham Accords and completely writing off the Palestinians. Trump went so far against Palestinians that Israel had to step in and be like, please don't stop giving Palestinians money, because if you refuse to give them money, then they will do more violent retribution. It's a national security risk at a time when they wanted to be more reasonable about the Palestinian existence, even as an apartheid state. So, no, Trump will be worse. Dude, you're being so cute, but I can't pay attention to you right now. I'm working. Daddy's working. I know you don't care. I know. She keeps pawing me now. So Trump's policies will most likely be worse than Biden's on Palestine, on the issue of Israel. I guess the only saving grace would be that liberals would be more committed to defending Palestinian lives if Trump was the one doing the killing, in the same way that they were so pro BLM. But what happened there? Liberals adopted BLM, co-opted it, and nothing came from that regardless. What do you want? You want to go outside?
Is kind of a warning shot saying it's time to change. It's time for something to change in this country.
Yes, the third gentleman with whom you spoke talked about the short-term pain for the long-term gain and said that he'd be willing to vote out Joe Biden. He does fully realize what that means, right? If we've got Joe Biden and Donald Trump, he's willing to elect Donald Trump.
Fuck, I can't hear anything.
He fully.
She unplugged my freaking. She unplugged my freaking audio. Hold on.
He realizes, and I challenged him on that. I talked to him about that. He fully realizes what that means. But these voters are saying it's not on us. This is not our responsibility. It is not our fault. This is the fault of the two-party system in this country. It's the fault of the Democratic Party for not producing the candidates that we want and for not coming through and following through on the issues that we feel like they need to be following through on. So if we have to go through, as Khalid said, the person that you were talking about, this kind of short-term pain of another Trump presidency, that's what needs to happen as they see it to break the system. Because
the issue is that it still doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter because the Democrats have demonstrated that in 2016, they don't care. They will never learn from their lessons because their position as controlled opposition relies on them not learning. They're very comfortable losing elections. They don't give a shit.
they have slept through so many election cycles in which they see as choosing the lesser of two evils, and they're exhausted. And that is what I'm hearing most from voters here in Michigan.
So last question to you.
Actually, I dead ass think you're wrong about Trump being worse for Palestinians. Yeah, you're insane for saying that. No. Guys, there is no president in U.S. history that has been almost as in contemporary U.S. history that's been as consequential for the lives of Palestinians getting worse than Donald Trump. In 2018, while the Great March of Return was happening, on the one side, as Israeli snipers were taking shots, directly at Palestinian civilians that were peacefully protesting the border wall that was unjustifiable. Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka, and Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was literally across the fucking, across the entire land that we know as Israel, on the other side at Jerusalem, at an embassy, at a newly minted U.S. embassy. Okay? The idea that like Donald Trump would be better is silly. This does not mean that people will still try to punish Joe Biden. They have every right to do so. Okay? I've said this before. You should absolutely try to extract concessions from the Democratic Party with your vote. That's it. And that's what these people are doing. It's so dumb.
You just said, wow. And you said so as Ray Yasmin was reporting there, listening to that tape. What does...
Then why did he say what he said in this clip? It doesn't matter what he says in this clip, dummy. Trump says a whole bunch of shit. Why would you ever take it seriously? The only thing you should be taking seriously is the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of every hour on this broadcast. And if you no longer want to see it, then you need to subscribe. And if you don't subscribe, then you're going to see the 3-minute ad break. I'm telling you what Trump has done, and you're telling me what Trump has said. How is this any different than what Joe Biden has said? Look at what Joe Biden has done. Offer an insane amount of arms to Israel as it's committing ethnic cleansing, versus what Joe Biden has said. We're trying our very best. We want a 2-state solution. Cut it out, Netanyahu. What do you mean? Trump has drawn more civilians than Obama, but this chat loves him because he's funny and charismatic. First of all, we do think that Trump is funny and charismatic, but so was Obama. And I criticize Trump as much as I criticize Obama, if not more. What are you talking about? That's ridiculous to think that this chat is like unironically full of Trump supporters or some shit. Now everyone's going to say, yes, we are, as a meme, and this chatter is going to feel like he's right.
Fate of the Palestinian people. They deserve a far better life. They deserve the chance to achieve their extraordinary potential. Palestinians have been trapped in a cycle of terrorism, poverty, and violence, exploited by those seeking to use them as pawns to advance terrorism and extremism.
Yeah, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he said that. He must really care about Palestinian lives. Let's not look at anything he's done. When he says terrorism, he means Hamas, by the way. That's the liberal Zionist line that he's towing. Anyway. Yeah. Israel is a bipartisan issue. Okay? Ethnically cleansing Palestinians is a bipartisan issue in the United States of America.
What does this portend to you? How concerning is this? Michigan's in a very important state. It potentially could run neck and neck there. You have Rashida Tlaib, the Michigan congresswoman, who's saying what Yasmin is talking about with these voters, saying, hey, don't vote for Biden specifically, send this message. Yeah. But sending that message now.
Sure.
What are the dangers of that?
Well, so first of all, the Biden campaign and the administration certainly acknowledges the political significance of this situation. That's why they sent Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner to do extended meetings in Michigan with these communities. We shouldn't forget about the fact that this is February.
Yeah.
And so if this
There's time, you think?
there's time for the campaign and the administration to address this. And what I would virtually guarantee is every Biden supporter or former.
Yeah, except they're not addressing it. That's the point. And they won't address it because they think staying in a holding pattern will cause the Muslim voters and Arab voters in Michigan to forget. And that's really fucking stupid because they won't. And it will cost them the state of Michigan. The calculation here for Biden is clear. Suburban white voters that are moderates are going to be pro-Israel regardless. The real question is it worth for the White House, to lose younger voters that are already like not exactly fond of his age and his incompetence? Is it worth for them to lose out on other demographics? Is it worth for them to lose Michigan? Is it enough that he has the full-throated support of the UAW in Michigan while simultaneously losing hundreds of thousands of votes in that state that are ultimately reliable Democratic Party voters? That's it. I've told you this. The calculation here is that Biden thinks he will lose the moderate voters that care about democracy and care about all this other shit that make Biden a more favorable candidate over Donald Trump if he takes a different approach to Israel. It's the same exact calculation that they're doing with respect to the border, leaning into the border crisis narrative. And the problem is, you're not actually winning on the border shit on that front. Those moderate voters are voting because they think you will defend democracy. You will defend these institutions. They're not voting for you over Trump because you're going to do Trumpian policies. That's it. And I don't think they recognize that. And I don't think they recognize the very dangerous normalization of the narrative that the border is a national security concern that completely gives up that talking point. Even if you're cynical, even if you're just, I'm putting on my DNC hat on now when I say this. I'm a wonk now that cares about the Democratic Party. When I say this, if I don't care about any of these issues at all, the human cost of it all, and I only care about reelecting the Democrats because they're good and they're awesome and they're slay queens, I'm still going to be mad in this situation because this miscalculation causes them to lose a fucking talking point. Okay?
Former Biden supporter who is a part of this coalition is sending this message in such an ardent way right now because they are hoping to reach some form of consensus. And you're going to see that start to play out. So there's a lot that is going to change, but certainly what can happen, and this is just raw politics. This isn't a commentary on the conflict itself. The Biden campaign will not ignore this issue and their voices, and you will certainly see them making very, very concerted efforts to mend some of these divisions and bring their coalition back together.
Can we go back quickly to you, Yasmin, if you're still there, and just get you to react to what the Congressman just said?
Yeah. Congressman, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but it's interesting because some of the points that you just made up, they actually.
Babiku, Arab equals terrorist. Please stop the Islam terrorism. Yeah, Islamic terrorism has a lot to catch up to Israel's terrorism if we're going to talk about terrorism, okay? Just saying. Don't ban this guy. I like this guy.
Came up at the table, right? This idea of timing, and the president has said this, there's time, right, to make up the difference between now and November, and they have sent an entourage of people. They've sent folks from the White House to respond to some of these concerns in Michigan. The president came himself when it came to UAW. He has not yet come to address the issue right now at hand with the Arab American, the Muslim American community, and young voters here in Michigan. One, that is something that they want. The other thing is they're saying the time is now. It's not now or November. The time is now, because what they're asking for, specifically in the Arab American community, the Muslim American community, and these young voters, is they're wanting real action when it comes to Gaza. So this time making up, right, and sending these entourage of folks that are part of the White House, it's not necessarily, in my view, from what I'm hearing from these folks, making much of a difference.
Right.
Wow. So Yaz, I know we're supposed to go, but just really quickly, let's say things get much better. Are they not going to be able to forget what has happened in Gaza when it comes to voting in November, and thus vote their conscience that way?
So the two guys in the end, Annie and Mikhail, both young voters, they said there is a possibility to make up that vote, right? If the president were to call for an immediate ceasefire, for instance, and really put time and thought, energy and money into creating a two-state solution in that area and helping rebuild. That's how they feel now. The two in the middle said there's no redemption. They're not doing it.